Hey everyone. We are the two Karthiks. My name is Karthik Kannan. This is Karthik Mahadevan. And we're both founders of this company called Envision. Some of y'all might know us. We basically build AI powered glasses that help people who are blind or low vision to live more independently. And we've got more than 200,000 people across the world using the Envision glasses and the Envision app, which is a smartphone app that does kind of the same thing. And when we began this journey about 7 years ago, AI was something that was completely unknown. It was something that only the nerds knew about, and now everybody, including a grandma, talks about ChatGPT. When we saw the world change rapidly over the last year and a half, it kind of dawned on us that we've been building an assistant of sorts already, because it's an assist with the Envision glasses. People just put them on and then go about their day with whatever tasks they want to do, and the assistant is always there and the glasses is always there to help them out. And we thought, wait, since we've been doing this for the last 7 8 years, it makes sense for us to see this assistant, or this tool evolve from being just a tool that helps people who are blind or low vision to basically helping even sighted people like us, right? Just being able to be there for us and help us out with different tasks as we go about our day is something that's really, really powerful. And so here we are to talk to you about what we're working on, a new project. It's called the Envision Assistant. It is, of course, a code name. It's definitely not marketing approved. So what we are wanting to do is talk to you a little bit more about that today. So do you want to do a quick intro?
Sure. So Envision Assistant, right? What is it? And we're gonna sort of do like a high-level explanation about exactly what the concept is and how it is different from everybody else building assistants out there. What we want to do going forward is we want to build an assistant that sort of abstracts away all the AI and all the functionalities into the background and offers people a clean, simple interface to interact with and to ask them anything, and just you have an answer at the end of it, right? So Envision Assistant is basically going to have three unique features that will make it different from everybody else who is building assistants out there. And I think if we approach building Envision Assistant in such a way, it will have applications beyond people who are blind and or have a low vision, but actually be an assistant that can be helpful for everybody. And those are three main features that will be the foundation of Envision Assistant. Is that it will be a conversational assistant, B, it will be a personalized assistant, and C, it will be a ubiquitous assistant, right? So these are the three terms that acronym into your CPU, and that's basically the focus of us as we go ahead and start to build this concept out. Let's start with the first of the three, which is the conversational assistant. So yeah, maybe explain a bit about like a reason we're going to pick a conversational assistant over anything else that's out there.
Yeah. I think one thing that we realized when we started building the Envision glasses in the Envision app is that, interfaces are like have so much friction in them. If you want to get something done, you usually have to hit a button. Like, let's say you want to get a description of a scene in the Envision app, you go to that button, you hit on it, and then you wait for it to process and so on. If you want to scan a document, you hit another button. So this is not just with the Envision app, right? Any app you open today, any website is all about buttons and lists and interfaces, which to be honest, are very outdated. They're all 2000 and 2007 basically. Every interface you see is somewhat derived from that era. And last year, what we did was we introduced a conversational element to the Envision glasses, and what we noticed was all of a sudden people were using their glasses 10 times more, simply because it was just so much more easier to get something done, right? And when we started to think about assistance for everybody, we realized that just putting buttons on an interface is probably the most laziest, most outdated way of doing it, and conversation was the more natural form of interacting with elements. And going forward, that's probably what we're going to see. We're going to see people having conversations either with voice or even sometimes with text. Being able to just converse with something and get things done is just so much more easier than having to say hit a button and then wait for an output to come. So that's why we're taking a conversational first approach to the assistant. And tell me a little bit more about the whole personalization stuff, because to me that's probably the most interesting thing, about the whole assistant concept itself, right? And something that I think is also quite unique to what we're doing.
Exactly. So when we started to think about this assistant, we knew that it needs to be a personal assistant, right? And our approach to making this a personal assistant is twofold. On one hand, it'll be a personal assistant in the sense that it'll be able to offer you personalized insights about you, right? So you can opt to offer this assistant some basic knowledge about like yourself, so you can inform the AI about who you are, what kind of a work that you do, and stuff, what kind of a dietary preferences that you have, and the AI can take all of this information and like retain it, so that when you're asking it a question or anything, it'll be able to offer you a personalized insight about things in addition to just offering you the information that you're asking for, right? To give you an example, if you go into a restaurant, you pick up a menu, the AI just won't be able to scan the menu and read the information on the menu out for you. It'll also be able to offer you personalized recommendation based on the dietary preferences that you've informed the AI about. So if you're a vegetarian, it'll actually speak out all the vegetarian options in the menu that you might probably want to consider. So that's one aspect of personalization. But the other thing that will enhance personalization is also offering this assistant a personality, where you can actually customize how this AI behaves, how it talks to you, what is the tone it has, what is the voice it has, and offer it a name, so that you don't just interact with an AI or a software or a machine. You're actually interacting with something that is a bit more personal than that, and that actually makes this whole experience a lot more enjoyable than just having to engage with a machine or a software.
True. And I think one other aspect to this is also the fact that this assistant is ubiquitous, which is just a fancy way of saying it runs on whatever you already own, instead of you having to go out there and buy a special piece of hardware, which probably will not evolve at the rate at which AI itself is evolving, right? We've thought a lot about building. We've built on hardware before, and we know the limitations that come with building on a specific piece of hardware, and it does offer cons, it does offer pros. And what we think with an assistant is that the more ubiquitous, the more widely available it is, the more helpful it can actually be, right? You could put in information about yourself on your phone and then use it when you're trying to fill out a form on a website. Or you could go ahead and pick some stuff up that you notice with your glasses, and then later on go ahead and access that information on your phone. So it doesn't have to really be all on a single device. It can be on any device you own. The internet is basically the hardware that we're going to run the assistant on, and that's where it's going to exist. So we think being ubiquitous gives us such an advantage over assistants that are really focused on just being able to run themselves on a small piece of hardware, right? And especially with smart glasses, we've been seeing how the space is evolving over the last few years, because we've been building the Envision glasses, and I can tell you there are so many advances that are happening on the smart glasses space that will go mainstream in the next couple of years, that it probably won't make so much sense to own a specific piece of hardware for an assistant anymore, right? So that's basically what we're looking to build: a conversational, personal, ubiquitous assistant.
So this is an opportunity for all of you to get an insight into sort of how we go from this concept, an idea, into a prototype, then into a product, and then finally into distribution. There is a wireframe of the idea that we currently have on the wall today. We'll be spending the next 2 weeks of building this out into a like an early version of the prototype. And you get to be a part of the journey, because on a weekly basis, at least on a weekly basis, we will be putting out updates as we build this whole idea out. So you get to be a part of it, and we are excited to kick this whole thing off. So Envision Assistant, a conversational, personal, and a ubiquitous assistant that is built inclusively. So it's not just amazingly useful for people who are blind or have a low vision, but an assistant that can actually be incredibly helpful for everyone. And to know more about it, follow us, and we'll see you next week. Peace.